on our radar beat street estimates with total September sales coming in at 1 lakh units versus estimates of 90,000 units. My colleague Parikshit spoke to Nalinikanth Gollagunta, who is the CEO of Automotive Division at the company, and began by asking about the festive season so far and the sales in the month gone by.
Just from an SUV perspective, domestic 56,233 vehicles is what we sold. That's about 10% year-on-year growth for the whole month. And commercial vehicles quite strong as well. 26,728 vehicles. That's about 18% year-on-year growth for the month of September. Now, as you know, because of GST, there's quite a bit of demand which got bunched up at the post 22nd of the month. So we are also tracking retails on the ground. So what I'm going to talk about is dealer-reported customer retails for the first 9 days of Navratri, starting 22nd onwards till now. Very strong traction so far. SUVs, the dealers are reporting about 60% growth compared to the exact same 9 days of Navratri last year. So it's an apples-to-apples comparison from that perspective. 60% growth in SUVs and then 70% growth in commercial vehicles relative to what it was in the first 9 days of last year as well. So good start to the festive season, if you ask me. Of course, some of that is pent-up demand, which came through because folks were waiting for the new GST rates to come into effect on 22nd as well. But definitely the GST toll auto reforms have given us fillip to the demand portfolio as well.
Right. I would also like to ask you about how do you start October? One of the things that you have mentioned in your press statement is that the surge in festive demand has placed significant constraints on availability of trailers, and we are working to improve dispatches to our dealer networks within the constraints. So could you give us a sense of the kind of booking pipeline that you're working with, what kind of growth that we could see in dispatches, and how are you looking to address the shortage of trailers?
Yeah, it's a tough one to predict at this point in time. The demand is quite strong. The inquiries and walk-ins have been quite good as well. So it's not necessarily a demand constraint challenge we have. As an industry, we have a trailer shortage, primarily because most of the deliveries started happening post 22nd, so that we are able to take in the right GST into our invoices. So that's created a bit of a challenge in terms of trailers. And we are kind of working through it. One of the things we're doing is increased dispatches to trains is one thing we're doing. And of course, working very closely with our logistics partners, including Mahindra Logistics, to solve this problem. So it's something which will play into October as well. So hard to say at Parikshit at this point on what will play out. We're of course super focused on making sure that we are able to dispatch the vehicles and we catch the festive in time. Having said that, of course, the demand will flow into November. We have also see that it's going to be a strong wedding season this time in November. So we're optimistic that we'll continue to get demand going into November as well.
Right. Now, if I were to ask you about the spread, the sales spread between rural and urban, what has been the sentiment like, and what would be the ratio of volumes coming to you?
Yeah, so just dialing back over the last 5 months, rural has been quite strong for us. And I'd say even for the industry, rural has done well. We've been quite happy with our urban performance, even in the last 5 months, although industry has struggled a little bit. But going into the festive, what we have seen early signs is strong demand for Bolero and Bolero Neo, and definitely strong growth for Scorpio and coming as well, which has a rural bend to some extent. So we continue to see that. So definitely that's continuing to play through. But urban demand has certainly come back in terms of walk-ins, in terms of inquiries. We see that urban demand has come back. Certainly has come back on 3XO, which is our compact SUV portfolio, and it's come back in terms of three-door Thar as well. But yeah, we're quite optimistic on the urban side this time going in the festive.
Right. So what would be the current ratio in terms of percentage of sales coming from rural, percentage from urban?
Yeah, so it varies, but normally when we come into festive, there's a little bit of an uptick in rural demand. So we are roughly about 50-50 at this point in time. And that goes back a little bit down on the urban side. But yeah, it's somewhere in the 50-50 going into the festive.
Right. Now, in terms of your top volume drivers in the portfolio, what would those be? The top 4 to 5 vehicles?
Yeah, Scorpio N is definitely top of the heap there. Very strong demand, continues to be quite strong for us. And 700 goes right after that, renewed interest with the GST cuts which have happened. 3XO as well now with RevX, which are new variants coming in, we're seeing significant interest there. So all of these models have seen cuts in excess of 1 lakh. If you take 3XO, it goes all the way to 1.5 lakhs, and that's on a CSUV vehicle. So significant demand coming due to that as well. But the interesting trend for us is also folks trading up in variants, right? And it's not like just because the price has gone down, they're actually spending less. They have the same budget, and they're looking to see if they can get a better variant for the same budget they have. So, which is an interesting twist.
Outlook on EV sales right now, how much of that is coming in terms of volumes from your total sales?
Yeah, it's a good question. So when we started putting out our BEVs in Q4 last year, we were about like 2 to 3% of our bookings was coming from EVs. Now it's close to 8%. And we have an event coming up in November where we'll be unveiling a new EV as well. So our expectation is we'll stay in the 8 to 10% going forward of our overall bookings, which will come from EV. And then over a period of time, as we add more to the portfolio, new IQ as a platform we launched in August, as that comes in a couple of years, we will then start to go towards the high teens to early 20s.
Okay. Finally, I would like to ask you about, you mentioned a new EV launch coming up. How many total new product launches in this fiscal to keep exciting the market and keeping the demand momentum going?
Yeah, so we are focused on both on ICE and EV. We have an exciting launch coming up in the EV space as well, but we have a strong launch lined up in Q4 for the ICE side as well. So quite excited to bring both to the market. Both are very compelling products, and one will come in Q3, the second one will come in Q4.
Well, that was the management of Mahindra & Mahindra speaking to our colleague Parikshit. Very strong demand is what the company says they are witnessing. We'll now slip into a short break. We'll